the last pick comes to HGT, so they'll see the entire draft of VGP at the end. So they're not limited by their lanes at all. And in fact, even with the Wisp, Sven, and Visage, depending on what VGP are actually running, you could almost run an aggro lane.
Yeah. And Disruptor banned out one of the classic counters to the Wisp. Glimpse, Static Storm, all of it just pretty good against the little energy ball. Phoenix, final choice for VG Potential. Okay.
We get Douchebird.
Now, how are they? Is Safe Lane Lesh, Bristle mid, and then is it a support Spirit Breaker perhaps with the off-lane Phoenix?
It's going to be a support Spirit Breaker, like an off-lane Phoenix, support Spirit Breaker, Earthshaker roaming, and Leshrac on top.
Right.
With the Bristle back in mid. Yeah, that's really.
And there's the Dragon Knight, so there you go. Good call, and I think it fits perfectly here. It really does, though. I mean, this is just. I mean, think about how much armor as well. Warcry on top of the already tanky Dragon Knight. That's I think this HGT draft is just
they really have been on mark with their drafts. The VG Potential lineup. I don't want to say it's going to be bad, because I still think they've got a lot to work with. They're very, very difficult to kill. The Spirit Breaker is very difficult to kill anyway. Then you've got the Bristleback, innately tanky. And then you've got a Phoenix with a Phoenix Egg. They don't really have great attack speed. That's one thing which is missing from HGT.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you have the overcharge from Wisp, so that kind of helps make up for it.
Yeah, you probably just have one hero sitting on the front lines going nuts. Yeah. Maybe you do get the Mask of Madness out from Sven. That's another option.
That's true, yeah.
But I would be very cautious doing a Mask of Madness up against such a lineup.
Do familiar auto attacks on the egg count as attacks? I don't believe so. I don't think so. No, they don't. Okay. So, yeah, they're...
That would be too OP for Familiars. They're already hard enough as it is to play up against.
That's a fair point. They're already pretty damn good.
Familiars come in when they're basically sitting on their lowest attack damage but highest attack speed, and they're just like, that egg will be gone in like a fraction of a second.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can't work.
I feel like VGP aren't super outdrafted here, but I think it's going to be a little more difficult for them to execute in terms of they don't have quite as much breathing room if they take a bad team fight in the mid game, make some missteps in the lanes. Whereas HGT, they're a little more recoverable. They can always make stacks in the jungle. Dragon Knight can always clear out Ancients, siege towers, split push, and of course Visage can do all those great Visage things. And you've got this Clockwork who, once he hits level 6, can just move around and start wreaking havoc on all these other lanes.
It's also nice to see some Clockwork with some items. RTK didn't have anything on his Clockwork before.
It's true.
But Clockwork's like the most pimp mechanical droid ever.
He does have some pretty cool cosmetics, I have to admit.
Looks a little bit more like the little okay, no, I realized that's actually a gas mask. With the position it was on, I thought he had like one of the little things on the front, and it looked like one of the guys from Star Wars episode 1.
Yeah,
little tap him on the head kind of things.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. I don't want to really remember too much about episode 1 because it was shite. Jesus. You know it, man. You're quoting Star Wars over on the couch.
I know. I'm debating whether or not we want to get into it here. How long is this pause going to be? Because
the last one lasted about 10 minutes, so I think we've got time, dude.
I would contend that episode 2 is worse than episode 1.
Oh, that's only because Padme and Anakin Skywalker were the most unbelievable pair in the world.
It's actually the worst. Like, let's send this young hunky Jedi out with this very beautiful princess so he can
hunky? God
protect her.
Damn it, he was ugly as shite. His acting is just like, yeah, love me because I haven't seen you in 10 years. And,
yes, I would absolutely love you.
Yeah, obviously you loved me when I was a little boy.
We've all forgotten that you're 15 years older than me. How much older is she than him, actually? It's a good bit.
She was only meant to be like 14 when she was princess.
And how old was he in episode 1? Like 8? I don't know.
8, 9, yeah.
I guess that's not that weird when you get older, but...
Yeah, it was just weird, they were chatting each other up in the coldness of a spaceship. It's like, it's cold here. Yeah, it's cold in space. Would you like a blanket?
Yeah, it was funky. I don't know. The Phantom Menace, it's like you got to remember the time. You know, that was like the first Star Wars after a while, so it was long and drawn out and slow, but it doesn't hold up in the test of time. But when it came out, I was into it. You know? Come on, man.
When it came out,
episode 2 was by far
the
bigger piece of crap.
Okay, we're gonna put this to rest right now.
All right.
You had honeymoon eyes.
Eyes.
Yeah, you literally just thought, oh my god, like
what honeymoon eyes?
You like when you've had like the wonderful it's the honeymoon period when you're like it's the first time, it's like everything is so magical, everything's so wonderful, and then you realize the socks smell like crap, and then everything just starts going wrong after that point. It's like she farts in her sleep, like things are going 100% wrong, and they're going wrong very, very quickly. Like that's the period you hit after you realize that it was crap.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough.
Yep. Maybe episode 7.
The pod race.
Be a disaster.
Do you have high hopes for episode 7? I don't know, man. I don't have the most hope in J.J. Abrams.
I look at it and I'm just like, this movie is going to just be an absolute disaster.
I'm not so keen
on the
what he
bright
did to
side,
Star
if it's
Trek.
not a disaster, then I can be happy.
That's true. I'm not so keen on what he did Star Trek Into Darkness. So if that's like a precursor to what he's going to do to Star Wars, I don't know.
Well, it's only like they rewrote the entire storyline and timeline of Star Trek. Like, I don't know what your issue is.
Yeah, come on. That was
okay. We've literally turned this into a nerdgasm right now.
That's true. I mean, well, we're still paused, so it looks like the gamble worked out this time.
Yeah, we actually missed the effigy check. I'm fairly certain. I know we already did that.
Yeah, we did it in game 1. So this is good.
Yeah, that was the finger pointing lion and such. Unless they're on like rotations, like sometimes you have like multiple.
Can you rotate your effigy? I guess you can have.
Yeah,
I only have one.
Your effigies, you can cycle through your effigies.
Okay.
No, I have multiple effigies. My best one is Joe Ranger doing the little crouch down kind of thing, saying "I'm a leaf on the wind."
Wow. That's some next level effigy game. I gotta step mine up. I've just got a Dazzle. He's just standing there.
Did you at least give it an inscription?
Yeah, it just says "Don't mess with Dazzle." It's really lame and stupid. I need to make a new one.
Yeah, let's not put you in an effigy showdown.
All right, I'll have to go back tonight and work on it. I'll come back with a brand new effigy tomorrow.
I would not commend.
What can I say? I'm a Dazzle fan straight.
All right, so let's get back to our game. So we finished our pause, so they've finished going to the water closet. And basically, so with Sven, crazy combination. The Visage is going to be here as well. They're actually having Sven and Visage on bottom, so they can run the Wisp DK in mid again. Who is the mid for VGP?
That is a great... I think it has to be the Bristleback, but I really...
But at the same time, you're seeing what Karka's going to do to get air in front, which is simply stack, farm, and you can get the extra points up in Breathe Fire and Flash farm this up.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about having the extra points up in Dragon Blood because you've got a Wisp watching your back. Now, they're going to switch up the runes, so yeah, okay. HGT scouted out the fact that VGP won top, so they just send the Wisp down bottom. ZSMJ as well as Pretty Hole will just ensure that this Wisp gets his bottle from the start.
It's interesting seeing this Sven start with a Mango. Early a sign that they want to be a little more aggressive in this bottom lane.
It's one of those actually kind of cool things, and I was actually waiting for like, if Raking ever comes back into the meta, for him to use it as well, because you have these heroes who are just very, like, dumb. Like their mana pool is crap, but if you have the Mango, like you're instantly a boss because then you can get these like high cost stuns which you can't get 2 out of.
Right.
Like, that's always the problem with Wraith King. You threw out 1 stun, and unless you had like 3rd level and you had a point up in stats, and you didn't have enough to actually throw the second one.
Yeah.
So you're able to have 2 stuns in the lane, so you've got it when you need it. And in the meantime, you're running a strength-based hero who's going to take some harassment from the offlane, so the Mango does the work with regeneration.
Yeah, that's true. So they will do things a little differently. Lin is on the Lesh, and he'll be stationed in the mid lane with the Shaker to back him up.
Okay.
So where does that put the Bristleback? He'll be in the safe lane with a support Phoenix.
It's like the worst lane you want to be in. Like, the Phoenix is nice. He can get nice and aggressive on the support role, but the Cogs is like the best thing he can have up against the Bristle. He's going to have no mana in the early stages.
Well, I have a bigger issue with the Spirit Breaker being the offlaner rather than the position 4 air. Ooh, that would have been active early on. He's got a really high power curve in the early levels, one of the highest EHP heroes early on, and when you put him in the off lane, he's kind of stuck there for a while. And if you start charging around to help the other lanes, then you're absolutely leaving their carry to free farm. So you can get caught between a rock and a hard place very easily, whereas Phoenix is happy to just sit in the lane, absorb XP, and try to make strides towards a Midas. So we'll see how it works out, but it feels like Spirit Breaker on the 4 has been a lot more common.
This game is going to be one of the biggest tests for the Observer, to actually see First Blood. Karka, I love his rotation up to top lane. He's already up here, so XTT as well as Karka.
Yes.
win, that's for sure.
Yeah. And that's... HGT and Phoenix getting caught out of position.
Yeah, Kaka gets credit for the kill, and that'll be nice for the Wisp. Get a little bit of extra money to his belt, or under his belt early on.
Actually, I think you were right. I think it was his sprites that he used before. And he had the Icarus dive up.
Yeah, it's weird against the Clockwork with the little cast point, so you can kind of interrupt it. Clockwork actually really good in that kind of a situation. So they strike first.
But the advantage is still going to VGP as far as the lanes. Like, that Leshrac is finding all the farm in the world.
Yeah, I guess Lesh versus DK is pretty Lesh-sided, at least until level 6.
I'm still a little concerned as well about the pull points. I don't know how many stacks was able to do before he left, but they cleaned up the tree line so they could stack. He's actually going to have, like... Okay, so we're almost 4 minutes in with no stacks. Which means the DK's got no farming capabilities, really. Yeah.
I think the DK is okay. It's more the Sven that I think is the one that really wants to power farm through some stacks. Let's see. Pretty Hong is now on a 5-1 streak with Visage on this patch. Kakan now 6 and something.
I suppose the reason why I'm focused more on the DK's farm than anything else is because I'm wondering how quickly he gets to the Silver Edge.
Yeah, that's true. I guess he does need to prioritize farm a little more.
Yeah, like the Sven, we don't have to get Hand of Midas out from him because the Mask of Madness can do its work. Fissure on air, and this is going to hurt. This is really going to hurt. He's actually back on the other side of the Fissure. It doesn't cut him in, but he had no tango, so if they did manage to get that Fissure block on the tree line, he had no way out of that.
Yeah, that was a really close call. Just a minor misplay by the Earthshaker. Needed to poke a little more forward. And he absolutely could have, too, because he was invisible, so... It's unfortunate for VGP. That would have been a huge kill. And more mana burning on the Bristleback, like you were mentioning. Oh, he walks into it again.
It went back for seconds.
Almost a third time. Oh, my.
Well, unfortunately, he doesn't carry a Mango.
Yeah. This is where you just need a Coddle to back him up. I feel like that Bristle-Coddle combo is just so much scarier than like a Bristle Phoenix, where you can keep pumping in full of mana and abuse the cooldown reduction, get those quills out.
Kaka's coming back. He's going to be healing up the Clockwork again so he can battle. Also having a bit of a look around. Actually, that Observer Ward just sitting on the side, it's been there for a long time. That's the reason why they've been able to watch where VGP have been moving. Almost similar to the ward from the first part of today.
Yeah.
Like it was what was that comment? It was Dazzle on the off lane with someone else, but the Dazzle's movements were just so free.
Yep. Yang's still getting a lot out of this offlane though, and if Spirit Breaker gets zoned out, it can really be costly, but here we're 5 minutes in and he already has Nether Strike, so he can start charging around and actually setting up kills. XTT up top, taking some damage, but Wisp is there with the tether, trying to heal him up. James, Icarus dive across.
Oh, this is so bad for them.
Huge damage. Kaka, I think he's going down here. No armor, and Phoenix will get that one.
Yeah, you had to take it for the team then. There was no other choice. When that Cogs didn't push back the Bristleback, then that's when it happened.
Cogs are a little funky in that way.
Yang? Well,
hey, we just broke 9 million.
Watch his charge time here, because the Stormbolt's going to be able to stop this. In fact, he actually used it straight away, because they've got the extra stun, because they've got the Dragon Tail available. That's
nicely played.
That was really smart. Really, really smart.
Good rotation from Air. And now they'll try to transition this into a tower siege. Even has illusions, even better for this. They'll go right up to the tower, start stacking up that corrosive breath, and the illusions can tank it up.
Well, there's no backdoor regeneration, so you have to use the fortification before the creep wave even arrives, which means NSMJ can move forward. He's already triggered the God Strength to just munch through this tower.
And there's not much VG potential can do here. James, only level 3. They will start to TP in and try and make a hold here.
HGT's going to back up, or else they run the risk of this tower being in denial range. At the same time, Stormbolt flies, attacks into the Leshrac. Now, he's still running Pulse Novus. There's still some decent damage here with the Breathe Fire, as well as the balls in. They had enough damage to bring down the Leshrac, but in comes the Spirit Breaker right after Kaka, making sure that extra Wisp is going to be there. Pretty well. Lucky survives. SMJ's got one more stun up his sleeve, and he actually just used his Mango, but the Sun Ray burning, doesn't have the Sunblock on, but in comes your hook shot. Cogs him up, in for the Battery Assault, controlling up Yang, and this could be big for XTT if he can get a little bit more until the bash knocks him out of his own cogs. He's meant to be master of the electronics, but Air, this could be big, and we can't finish the job. Yang's too tanky. He triggered the wand charges and switched over to Strength Treads, but he did pull XLL off his teammate, which is the upside.
XDT, he wants more. Wisp is back in the party. I don't think they want to continue to pursue this. A huge hold from VG Gaming potential. Fissure, I feel like really the key spell there to set that up, especially when they were on the retreat. Stunned 3 of them, broke up the fight, and it all just evolved from there.
Yeah.
Very nicely done.
But
And they hold the tower out of deny range. That's the other big thing there.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, it's
it's just within deny range. Okay. But that's the worst thing for HGT. That's a bad thing for VGP.
Yeah.
But HGT at the same time, like, okay, Lin, this is confidence. There's a dragon tail here. Okay, yeah, whoa!
They're just getting way too cocky there, not respecting the pulse number. Now Split Earth hits pretty hard. Wow, double kill for Lin. That just shouldn't have happened, really.
That escalated quickly.
Stormbolt onto James. Lin running low on mana at this point. He just can't sustain the pulse nova, but Dogfights is nearby. Fissure off the mark. Oh, Lin isolated. He should get brought down here. Charge onto Kaka. Will this fight continue?
It should do. They've got hookshot available, so there's enough damage. In fact, going point blank range. Now he's going to get himself out of this one. XTT puts up the cogs, but they isolate the Bristleback at least. Dogfight has to die as SMJ to make this really worth it, because we just had fight go one way, then the other way, then back the other way. Ares now just moonwalking his way into this fight as that Dragonite into the big dragon form with the agents to help out trying to kill off Yang. They need a little bit more of a slow. The Rockets, Anthony, they got the Dragon Tail stun, so Yang will end up dying as he walks around the tree line. That tick is still on him, and the attack, okay, the charge away, but he's alive. 45 HP, he'll survive.
Okay, that was oddly chaotic.
I'm waiting for the Clockwork Rocket, but he just TP's back to base, so there's no way for it to connect.
Okay. So XDT on the Clockwork actually bought back there, and his hookshot was still on cooldown. I guess just hoping to try and get in there and do some damage with the battery assault, but not a very cost-effective buyback for him. And that puts VG Potential, I think, in the lead here.
Yeah, net worth-wise, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a big jump.
That's a bit of a dip. But it's just been so close the entire time. Like, it's only been 500 or so. So 2,010 minutes in, like, it's not bad. Like, it's really not that bad.
It's not out of control, but it's a pretty good bump.
Especially if there's stacks inside the jungle, which I believe that's what Sven's farming up right now. Yeah, they're now trying to get their injection of money. And the Bristleback can do the same thing. In fact, both teams have got the exact same mindsets. Stack, farm. One with Quills, one with Cleave. It's actually, well, take it back. There's no Cleave. It's actually a 4-0-1-1 build.
Wow, that's really surprising. I feel like that's actually a pretty rare build to see. Most Svens not maxing out Stormbolt. You'll see some go for like level 2 just to get that extra bit of damage, but not even a single point in the Cleave feels surprising here.
This actually just shows a little bit more of the focus of HGT. Like they were looking to fight earlier on. Like, if you were going to farm, if you were looking for these stacks, if the stacks were massively important to you, then yeah, you'd have a whole bunch of points up in Cleave. But at the same time, that's not really the case, and you can look at the Dragonite saying it was more important for him to find the farm, so makes Sven more of a fighter. Because his Cleave isn't really going to help him up against the VGP heroes.
Right. Yeah, that's true. It's really just for farming, I think. But
yeah.
Well, he gets appointed now, so we'll start to farm a little more easily as realizing stacks are a reality. So how's the Lesh doing in item progression? He has to have something more than that at this point. Oh, maybe not. We're still very early in, but a good opening kit has his completed power treads.
He still had 2 deaths to his name. It's kind of been the problem of like most of the heroes on this map, like the cores. Like, the progression's not bad, but they're just finding... Okay, well, actually, the Bristleback's great. He hasn't had a single death, but everyone else has been sharing the load of death.
Yeah, the Bristle's gonna have a long window here where he's pretty beefy. He's got a mechanism coming out, I think, or that could just be the Crimson Guard. Does he have more of the mech?
No, it was just the buckler.
Okay.
Oh, he's got the take it all back.
All right.
There it is.
So he'll be very beefy, and it's still a ways off this DK getting a Silver Edge. So there's this big window where VGP can afford to be more aggressive.
I'm wondering if DK, actually, do you think DK can get into the Silver's Edge straight away? Or does he need to actually go for something else? Like, does he need to complete the drums, for example?
I think he can just go straight for a Shadow Blade. I don't see why not. He's not really having... I wouldn't say he's not survivable enough. If anything, they're lacking damage output, it feels like, at the moment. So that'll give them some sort of a way to initiate, come around the backside.
Well, they've also got that from the Clockwork too.
That's a good point, yeah.
And like the Clockwork's giving you everything you need for your initiation at the moment, because he's giving you vision through Rocket and then through Hookshot.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, like, if he wants to, he can pass up on the Silver's Edge, but it's still just, again, the timing. When you're going to hit it up against someone like the Bristleback, like, is Bristle going to end up getting a BKB after this hook shot in? Now with the Cogs catching out too, means the Breathe Fire can be rather effective, but the Clockwork's still in the world of hurt, and the Nova at the back end, they can't get close enough to it. It is still a 1-for-1 trade-off with the burn, and not to mention the Nova, this Lashrak is just walking after him, looks for the extra stun, stuns off over on ZSMJ, but Air is the main man they want. They want this DK dead, but the Stormbolt connects. ZSMJ, they didn't finish him off, and they might pay the price for it, even though the Bristleback is quill spraying up everyone. 4 heroes down for the price of 3, and even the Courier is dying in the meantime. That was the Dire Courier that ended up getting sniped off.
All right, they will get this tier 1 tower. Maybe Visage can get the deny with the Familiars. Nope, not quite. Looks like it will go the way of the Dire. So obviously a successful fight for Vici Potential. Felt like it was just too much AoE damage. Like, HGT was taking huge damage from the Quills. They were taking huge damage from the Lesh, who had Pulse Nova going aplenty. They just can't survive through all of it. I mean, Wisp can keep one alive, but outside of that, they don't have that AoE sustainability that like a Dazzle or a Witch Doctor would provide.
Are you able to see what was on that Dark Courier?
Let me see here.
1,000 worth of net worth, so I'm kind of interested to see what was flying out on it.
Wait, are there...
Do you have a bind for it?
Let's see here. Who is on this computer? Let's see. It was the headdress for the Bristle and a Robe of the Magi for Lyn.
Okay.
So nothing too crazy.
No, it's not slowing anything down, really.
Yeah, the Bristle would have the mech by now, so that is one bottleneck. He has the recipe picked up.
Okay.
So, not a huge deal, though. Could be a lot worse.
Man, these stacks are just so good. ZSMJ, only 2 points up in the cleave, but it looks like it doesn't need much more.
Yeah.
And there's no one here to contest it. Like they're splitting all the experience up, but it's more importantly getting the farm into Sven, so he can work his way into the BKB, while the Dragon Knight's actually farming a triple stack inside the jungle as well. So he would have come out of that with... Actually, he spent all of his money too. So that crew is probably bringing the draw... Actually, nope, he's going...
Lesh is going drums here, it looks like.
It's Ogre Club. So potentially he might actually be looking at a BKB. Instead of trying to like battle the Bristleback directly, just try and have that survivability and...
Or he could be going Sange first item as well.
Yeah, he could also be doing that.
Possible. It seems like a weird way to do the build-up for that item, but a little extra strength, not too shabby.
It's actually the normal build. Like, is it go for the Sange first, or is it go for the Shadow Blade?
I think the Shadow Blade. What I've seen it mostly is the Shadow Blade, but that's also in games like DK will get the Shadow Blade when you're sort of ahead and you can use it to snowball. In a game like this, going for Shadow Blade first can be risky, so maybe he feels like he just needs that extra bout of strength.
Man, Sven's got all the space in the world.
Yeah.
And VGP, like how are they meant to force this now? I think they're realizing too, like the Trike's got like terrible damage, but he doesn't have a lot of survivability still because these items haven't arrived yet. And he's starting to get to a point too where the DK and these Sven are at a position where they're actually quite formidable foes during a fight.
Yeah. And how's the Sven itemizing here? I see you're talking about that BKB.
Yep.
Feels like the safe bet. Mac Madness I always like on Sven, just to help him farm, and there's a period where it helps him not be kiteable. At least the slow from Bristleback, there's just so much to kite him around. Even just the damage from the Lesh, you need the BKB to mitigate that.
This trade-off. Right, you've got 2 of the easiest hard hitters in the game, and I say easiest because their abilities just give them so much physical damage. One through God Strength, and the other one just through like the Warpath, like the stacks which you get from that.
Yeah.
So forcing down buildings is quite easy for both these teams, and that's actually maybe one of the nicest things about this game, where we didn't have the same kind of factors in previous games, where VGP have so many different ways where they can just melt down towers. Between the Edict as well as the damage from the Bristleback, when you do get these openings, if you can keep both these heroes alive, you're going to claim buildings.
Yeah.
Where HGT, they have Sven and they have DK.
And Familiars.
And Familiars, yeah.
To a lesser extent.
Yeah. If the Drow was in there, I count it more towards the buildings, but the Familiars give you a split push.
Yeah.
And that's probably just as good.
Alright, well here's our courier. It's respawn, so mech gets delivered to the Bristleback, and there should be drums now in the inventory of the Lesh. Yep, there we go. So Lesh level 11 finally gets some points in that Edict. And, Yang picks up what looks to be the beginnings of a Shadow Blade here. Interesting.
Oh, it's his way to get in undetected.
Yeah, great item on the Spirit Breaker.
HGT won't see that one coming. Because it's almost like they're walking around with a Night Stalker with Aghanims or something like that. It's Like, they'll need to have vision across the map to see him like charge before he triggers the Shadow Blade.
It's a nice substitute to the BKB, because if you go BKB first item, you have this really strong power curve right away, but then you kind of fall off, and this gives him that ability to pick up some kills and just do some more damage. Plus the attack speed synergizes really well with the bash.
Clockwork, don't do it, man. he's watching into the pit.
He wants to.
And the Earthshaker's being the buffer. It's kind of not worth it because they've already got the trade-off they're looking for. Like, they take the tier 1 tower on top. He could potentially go for. He's actually he's triggering that. He's looking at it, and he actually goes in. He goes right his hand. He actually snatches the Aegis Tomorrow into the Brussels back, but the kill still goes the way of the Clockwork, and that is well. There's a snatch.
Is that worth it to jump in, get the last hit on Roche, not with the Aegis?
It's worth it for all those people who did the compendium predictions for China, who were looking for one Aegis snatch at least.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well that's something.
Oh man, that's actually still worth it. Like, the experience and gold game, which still go the way now of HGT, is brilliant, and the Clockwork, yeah, it just goes up. The Aegis Immortal is still in the hands of the Brustleback, sure, but what do you get in return? You took out the tier 1 tower on the top, and you take what Roshan offers.
Yeah, and you get all the team gold, so we'll call it a victory. If you could have gotten the Aegis, absolutely would have been amazing, but.
Oh, well, players also like DK, like we were saying, like, where are they going to get their money from?
Yeah.
You give them a top tower as well as the bonuses from Roshan.
Yeah, that'll do it. Lesh goes Ghost Scepter, next item, and I think this is a great game for it. It's pretty much all physical. Obviously, there is some magic damage, but the bulk of it is the right click, so now Lesh can feel pretty brave just charging in, Pulse Nova on. You don't like it? Not a Ghost Scepter fan here?
No, I'm actually quite fine with this. I'm just wondering for how long is it really going to save him, and is this going to cause him more troubles with heroes like Visage, for example?
That's true. If he gets hit by a Stormbolt and then a maxed out Soul Assumption, that's a lot of damage. Here we'll see a relocate up top. Lin, he'll go down.
Yep. You bring in the help as we go frame by frame.
Easy pickings there, yeah.
But this event's getting out of control. 6.81k now is the net worth over on him. Even the Wisp is walking around with an urn with Tranquils and Bottle. So keeping his cause alive is becoming easier and easier. I still want to see like how long does it take for Air to get into that Silver Edge? Because the second that happens, I think VGP lose all their power. Like, the Latrak is great having a Ghost Scepter, but it feels like this.
Well, he just got his BKB, so it's going to be a while.
With double BKBs as well.
It's still a good way to itemize here, though. I definitely agree that Silver Edge is great against Bristle, but now you've got two cores that are basically immune to Lesh in the next fight.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. Like, you look at it and say, okay, so VGP, you just wait out the Latrak. Like, the Ghost Scepter triggers, fantastic. You've got a DK and a Ven with a Wisp behind you. You shouldn't end up dying. So you just wait for the Ghost Scepter to wear off. His damage output might be nice, but it's not going to be enough to find the kills. And that's when, boom, these guys just kill him when he comes back out of it. So the other control factor you look for is Brustleback. And that's where I look for Silver Edge, or look for some other level of Disable.
No, up top, Sven and some familiars. They're thinking about having a go, but looks like he will just back out. Meanwhile, in the mid here, Air trying to defend this tower. XLL, remember, he has the Aegis, so he can afford to be a little more aggressive here. Oh, Yang, he presses very far forward. ZSMJ starts things off with a stun. They've got familiars nearby, but you don't even need the stuns. He'll just fall to the damage.
They can actually go even further if they want to. Because it was Wisdom who got the pick off from the SB, but his relocate came back off cooldown just after they found the kill. And that was when VGP were backing up from the mid. So they could have also potentially come in behind VGP. But instead they are pushed towards the top tower and then forced them to run out. Looks like there was going to be initiation coming in. And it's the Clockwork going YOLO here.
Yeah, that was ambitious. Tier 2 tower in the top lane almost falls, but there will be some TP rotations. James as well as Dogfights come in, and that will repel the Sven Wisp.
Here comes your relocate, XLL, and they get in front of him, which is a bigger thing. Keep him stunned up so he cannot turn himself around. That's the Aegis Immortal down, and Lin wants to buy him some extra space, but then BKB out from Air ensures the stun, and SMJ. Again, they're trying to battle him from 3 different sides here, so they don't have to deal with that Bristleback the entire time. Another Storm Bolt was SMJ, careful, the Quill's Brace was starting to really stack up.
He gets the
and it's actually Visage the one who ends the spree, but yes, Ven will end up dying as Yang charging after him. Air, no BKB available. They will be up with Fissure shortly, I think. Either way, yeah, 1 second until it's off cooldown, and then in fact Yang just comes in, pushes him back. There's your fissure, short range charge. The Clockwork coming back in again. He's got familiars to help him out, so there is damage output available. The problem is you can't do jack up against the sun.
Yeah, very nice. Forces out the Supernovas. That is something. But a huge fight for VG Potential as they just steamroll over HGT. It seemed like such a good play to relocate in. They brought the Bristle down fast, but the spread just wasn't enough. Still, most of the damage was going towards his back, and the quills were just too much. Now Wisp.
He's got a TP now.
Yeah, there you go. Phew.
He didn't see it coming, but I think it was flagged the fact that SB did charge out.
Yeah. Ooh, Gem picked up. All right, so they see the Shadow Blade on the Spirit Breaker, and they want some way to deal with it. So I think this Gem pickup is pretty warranted.
How much does Clockwork need that 4 stuff? Like, we've seen him jump in multiple times, but we've also seen XTT really jump in, and then there's no quick follow-up. Like, because you're not looking at a Blink Dagger DK. In fact, he's just going solo here, and now the relocate. Like, that brings in the help, but the relocate wasn't there last time he hooked in.
Yeah. No, you're right. He's been very aggressive with his hook shots this game, almost too much so. I don't know if that's a miscommunication issue or if he's just feeling very aggressive today, but there's been a couple, though, where he's okay, though. Looks like Silver Edge could be on the horizon. I guess it could be a Sanjin Yasha, but another Ogre Club picked up here.
All right, Euro Scepter from Leshrac. Now they're finally getting some control and set up for a gank. This is probably the other reason, too, why Lingus ends up saying, you know what, Ghost Scepter is the way to go. It gives him something in case he gets in a little bit too deep, but if he doesn't, then he's fine. He's got all the mana regeneration in the world he'll require.
Sven has also picked up his Mask of Madness now, so he's feeling pretty good. Can farm very easily, very quickly now. And, oh my, that's a Daedalus on the Courier. Pardon me, a Crystalus, rather. The beginnings of a Daedalus.
I'm still wondering if we end up with the same Sven as we had like in our previous series. Yeah. Like, wow, Sven does wonderful damage. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah. That's another one of the issues with going first item BKB. It's absolutely warranted, but you shoot through those charges very quickly, and he'll be at a 5-second BKB long before this game's over.
There's always like a hero like the Queen of Pain who could buy a Refresher Orb and have 2 BKB charges. Like, what are you looking to have? Double God Strength and double Stormbolt?
Sven already has slot issues, but I guess if we could get a Refresher, and double God Strength is pretty ridiculous. Never really thought about that before.
To be honest, it's a draw thought, but it's not completely out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, it's not the craziest thing I've ever heard.
But then you're going to sacrifice like your damage dealing items or your stability items, so it doesn't make as much sense.
Just throw away your boots. You got a Wisp. You're good. Overrated.
He's not Weaver.
Looks like VG Potential want to get aggressive here, though. They'll group up as 5. Bottom tier 2 tower will be under assault. Diabolic Edict used straight away. HGT may just pressure the top to try and go for a tower trade, but it's pretty low. So they could just go tower for tower. Yeah, it's the safe play.
That's what HGT's been doing most of the time anyway. So like, there's no reason to fight VGP head to head at the moment because they're still looking for like their perfect items and perfect setup, and they're not going to get that while trying to battle up to a high ground area. It's especially like that tier 2 tower on bottom. Now this is the time when they have to either trade for the top racks. The familiars are already pushing in up there, and actually VGP don't want anything to do with it. They're already getting the hell out of there. So is this chip damage split push harassment which HGT is so much better? Because how does VGP deal with split push from HGT?
They can't really. They don't have a good option for it, that's for sure. They are winning the pushing battle right now, though. There's only 1 outer tower remaining for HGT, and there's still a tier of 1 in the mid lane for the dire side. So they still have a lot of buffer structures here, a lot of control around the Roche pit as well, with tier 1 in the mid lane and also the tier 2 in the bottom. Haven't seen any Roche action yet, but yeah, could in the near future.
Well, VGB can do it fairly easily when they've got like nasal goo. Like that's like there's not much of a problem with that. But yeah, with HGT, I'm wondering if VGP can ever get themselves into a position where they can get a better trade, as far as like pure trade-offs, because you're still running a relocate. Like with that, and Sven jumping in, now the tether does arrive, but they find XLLs also here. Not what they want to be part of, and Karkas just say, let's get the hell out of here. This is not going to work for us.
Yeah. I think that was the right play, but now, do they come back and try and fight this? Yellow is on his way up. He could try to hookshot in and have a 3v3 skirmish Or they could just sacrifice the Wisp and go for the tether play.
And he's got nothing to tether to.
Yeah.
The creep wave's too far away.
Well, Kaka dying, I guess, is better than Kaka and the Sven dying. So.
Yeah. He made the right decision. Like they just thought it was only going to be one hero on the top. Kill him off nice and quick, and then get the hell out of there.
And especially since the Lesh used the Split Earth right before they initiated it. That's your golden opportunity, but no, it was bait.
Yep. Second Bristle arrived, you just get the hell out of there.
Yeah. So now VGP, they'll start to pressure the last outer tower for this Radiant side. Meanwhile, ZSMJ just moves into the Roche pit.
They're charging in for this, but where is he? He's actually charging the creep wave, which means Yang is going to go straight. Actually, no, he is charging ZSMJ. So he stops it and then runs out there with Shadow Blades. They don't have any detection on him, so the tier 2 tower is destroyed by the Latrak, while Roshan is interrupted by
Who's
the SB.
carrying the gem right now on the Radiant side? Where did they lose it?
It was on Wisp.
Oh, they lost it. Oh, no.
But, okay, it must be in the hands of the Courier of Dire side then, because no one's picked it up unless it's still sitting on the ground.
Is it on the Radiant Courier? Did they just leave it in the base? No, that's a Shadow Blade. Where the hell is it?
Searching for one gem. One gem.
All right, well, there's a mystery gem somewhere.
We've really got to put a beeper on this thing or something. It's like losing your keys.
Oh, okay, it's in the base. Okay, so they dropped it before they went for that aggressive play. That's good. That's really big for HGT.
He actually probably dropped it when he relocated back.
Oh, yeah,
that was probably what did it.
Yeah, that's a good call. Oh. But now it's VGP that move into the Roche pit. Now that they've seen that there's interest on the Radiant side, they'll try and seize the day. They won't commit too much for it, and they will just back out. And now a Blink Dagger on Sven. ZSMJ just continuing to farm like a madman here. He's been very comfortable in that position 1 slot in the net worth chart pretty much all game.
Except for the start when Bristleback and Latrak owned it, but since that point, yeah, he hasn't given it up.
Since he's recovered, yeah. I guess a Wisp will do that to you.
It gives him the confidence to do whatever he wants to on the side lanes.
Interesting build from the Earthshaker. He went double Bracer and then into the Force Staff. It's a little bit different. Usually a hero that you'll see sometimes just like boots into Blink if it's possible, and here he's gone for more stats items.
Yeah, he's got something really against Kaka.
Yeah. Oh, just trying to get vision. It's the way to play your Spirit Breaker. Just constantly charge, and you kind of end up being this ward around the map where you can get intel, just see how people are moving.
Is that going to be a BKB for the Bristle? For the SB, sorry?
I would imagine so.
Because the reason why I'm wondering about it is I'm actually a big believer in Silver Edge. You know, we're flashing up Silver Edge at the moment. But it's the fact that he could build into this and remove Dragon's Blood.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
Which makes the DK, like, you take away so much of the strength of the DK by doing such a thing.
Yeah.
But it's the same kind of thing as the Bristleback. Like, maybe you can pop him, maybe you can remove him, but
maybe he is going Silver Edge. So the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. XTT, he gets initiated on here, but Force Staff to the high ground. It saves him.
Yeah.
Or does it? Sunray, he has to hook shot defensively.
Well, the Urn Charge is still ticking him down, but he'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, but that wasn't the smoothest thing in the world for him.
And now they can feel pretty safe going into the Roche pit, knowing that hook shot's on cooldown. You've got a minute where Roche is ripe for the taking.
Yeah, but you look up towards top, you've already got SMJ pushing as quick as he possibly can. And, okay, the Aegis Immortal, what are you really gaining from this? You're going to get 2 Bristlebacks over, or is it 2 Latraks? I'm actually hoping it's going to go onto Latrak, because
Lesh is one of the best Aegis carriers, up there with Storm. That was an awkward stun.
That was a Shadow Blade dodge. Now SMJ, they might have to use Relocate to save him from this, because that Sunray is going to burn him out. And yeah, there's Kaka. He already realizes it, just pulls him out.
Yeah.
And again, Kaka will have to give away his life for this.
If he had another strike there, I think that would have potentially been a killer. He would have at least had to relocate a little bit earlier. All right, Kaka. Anywhere to tether to? No, that's a big negative.
They're just bouncing him around like a rag doll.
Hot potato.
But there's still 4 heroes that came up to kill him, and this is kind of where I still keep asking the question: if VGP are capable of finishing this, you get Nagus the Immortal, but you keep being forced into these positions where you have to take a lot of your friends away to defend these lanes when they get split pushed, and then you push up to high ground, and HGT will still have a pretty good level of defense. Like between the Storm Bolt as well as the Breathe Fire, you can take out most creep waves.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it comes down to like positioning, and now we've got the full Silver's Edge also over on DK. Like you can even come from behind.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much easier this fight goes if they can find good initiation on the Bristleback. Also, it was a BKB on the Bristle, so he Yeah, he's
going Sanj after.
He's got the Sanj after. Okay. Could still be the Silver Edge.
Well, maybe this comes back to something you were saying before. Like, you got very early BKBs over on HGT. Is it worthwhile actually going in for something like a Halbert in this game?
Yeah, knowing that they'll have 5-second BKBs earlier than usual. There it is. Good call.
Yeah. It's also another thing which could come into factor is the fact that the Dragon Knight will probably be building into a Monkey King Bar at some point now because of this. But the Sven is already going for a Daedalus. So he's already pretty heavily invested into finishing that. Though unless he wants to change his mind.
I mean, he could get both, but it's still a hero with slot issues.
Yeah.
It's possible, but they'll have a nice window here while the Bristleback is... Or, pardon me, the Spirit Breaker is a little more tanky. Phoenix had a hand of Midas a long time ago, now just picks up the Vitality booster.
Oh, he's going Sin's favorite item.
Rod of Atos.
Oh, sorry, Merlini's favorite item.
Sin's least favorite item. Well, taking a more passive turn here. HGT seem fairly comfortable on their side of the map for now. I'm surprised they haven't tried to get a little more aggressive with this Silver Edge. Maybe just waiting out the Aegis of the Immortal. Or at least trying to.
Alright, so vision is key. Vision is key for HGT now. VGP, all just running down the mid. They're 100% visible. The Observer Wall, which is also sitting up at the top river, is also seeing everything for HGT. So they know exactly what VGP had planned. And here they come. With only 2 minutes left on the Aegis model, they just force him to the front lines. And that Bristleback, remember, like they're trying to get him to soak it up. Because if you have on the Bristleback, you're more than likely to survive through the entire fight, and then you'll kill him off twice. That's why I thought like the Aegis model will go to Lin here. So he could be more of the pusher with the Edict.
Odd time to use the Glyph there for HGT.
They're trying to stall it up for the top lane.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Familiars are actually up there, but the Creep Wave is now entering the base on the top lane. Okay, so they're not, but the Creep Wave is still hitting the tier 3 tower. So this warning bell is still going to be flagging for VGP, saying your top tower is under attack. So they're going to be worried about this. Is that Ghost protecting themselves as the double BKB is being triggered off? In fact, even deeper with the triple. ZSMJ is bouncing back with the bashes from the SP, and he's so low in life. He must have so many Quill Sprays up. The Echo Slam will hit, but minimal effectiveness now as the Clockwork's already down, and the Nova's also going to drop, and HGT desperately scrambling back inside their base, and this is troublesome. This is really troublesome. The buybacks are heavy. VGP are low, but they've only just lost the Bristleback. The charges just keep coming in from Spirit Breaker, ensuring these cores die like time and time again.
No buyback on air. He's in the grave for over a minute. Same with Clockwork, and now these barracks should be available for the taking. Another mech.
You brought Sven back. You've got to try and slow this down. The Familiars are actually hunting the Visage down the bottom, which we should probably be following now.
This is a disaster for HGT. So much money put into that, and they still couldn't defend the barracks, and now they're going to lose another tier 3. I don't know if this will be another lane of barracks, but huge damage onto the base. VGP just all of a sudden erupting with so much momentum.
They got to go. Like, let the Clockwork TP out in 5 seconds time and try and get some of these pickoffs. Lin's got no mana left, and they can't reach him. They're actually out and scot-free. Like, VGP, fantastic battle. 2 buybacks, a full mid racks at a tier 3 tower and bottom to boot.
That is incredible. I mean, look at that gold graph. This game was so even topsy-turvy and just downward spiral to now a 5-figure net worth lead here for Vici Potential.
That's what we call a drastic change in the experience graph.
Yes. Wow. I mean, I'm still surprised at how fast that Sven died to start off that fight. He was in the front lines and he just got melted.
Did he start with like 5 Quill Sprays on him? Like it's either that or like because he's BKB triggered, so like he's not taking bonus damage from much else. Like it could just be the raw physical DBS of the Bristle.
Yeah. I mean, you talked about Warpath earlier, and you can't forget about his right clicks. Once he has that maxed out Warpath, it's actually ridiculous how hard his auto attacks hit for. Especially if you have some stacks of the nasal goo. At minus armor, he is...
Wait until he has the Assault Cuirass fully done as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of those heroes that when he gets ahead on this patch, he is just scary the entire game. And he had a great start, so not surprised to see him doing so well at this stage.
Well, Phoenix is even going to make life harder for him. That's a Shiva's Guard almost fully done for him. So he didn't actually finish up the Rod of Atos.
So the casual Vit booster.
Casual Vit booster going into the Skadi. I mean, the Shivas.
Yeah. And now Dogfights actually picks up the Glimmer Cape on the Earthshaker. We saw this earlier, but it was without a Force Staff. So here he's got a slightly larger mana pool, I think makes it a little more viable.
Is it finally done? No.
Almost.
It's good. I'll say you the sacrifice is buyback, but...
Yep, already happened.
Yep.
I'm not sure if the Daedalus is enough here. That last fight, it wasn't a problem of damage output, it was a problem of just surviving.
But the problem was, like, I think even bigger was he was just running away. He wasn't with the rest of his team. Like, where the creep wave is right now is where he ended up fighting. Because it's like, okay, well, I'm going to pop my dragon form. I've got to hunt for this kill. Then the ghost up on the track. It's like, well, who do I go on now? I find the next target. And then just kept following out of the base.
Yeah. Well, VGP, they smoked up in the mid. They were trying to make something happen, but HGT just positioned a bit too defensively. Trying to find the right angle to siege this and finish off the next lane of barracks. It's just a ranged barrack standing in the mid, so really nothing too valuable. I think almost trying to bait HGT into an awkward position, but they will not fall for it. They're going to stay chilled up and take this fight.
That's actually really... They just push the creep wave in through the mid so then they can have the backdoor regen off.
Ah, that too, yeah.
And that opens it up. And Air, they know they have to fight. It's all or nothing right now. But Air, well, at least got his BKB form. But again, he's starting to run away. And he's got to try and turn around and fight. The Clockwork's going to drop. The Phoenix Nova is burning him up and also going to stun him up with the Not Careful. Air dropping so low. The relocate pulls him back a little bit further. He can battle up against the Shrike, who's quite deep here. But they're dying too quickly. He has to stay in range of Lin to ensure the depth, and that's what they can get. With the Dragon Tail stun, they're getting something back here. The relocate is going to pull them absolutely nowhere. But now that good Fisher stun, Dogfights controlling him up. There goes your IO down for the count. The Breathe Fire will do some nice damage, and finally that little bit of a spill damage kills up the Spirit Breaker, and Air survives. In fact, VGP, now they're the ones losing too many. XLL's the last man left standing. They're force-offing away pretty hard with a Soul Assumption. They're going to work through him, and they've done it. VGP are repelled, and they hold their bottom racks at the cost of range. Who gives a crap?
Yeah, absolutely. It seemed like that was going so well for VG Potential, especially once they killed the Sven, but the buyback on the Clockwork was just enough to tip the scales, and, well, you saw the power of those cogs in that final part of the skirmish when there was no escape. I mean, he just completely cut off the exit. Very nicely done, and that plateaus things a little bit. We'll see if the graph kind of jumps forward here. It does secure an Aghanim Scepter for the Visage. They do get something big at the end of that fight. Still not in the clear yet, Toby. This is still a little rocky.
The big thing, though, is arriving. Like, you look at Air's farm, he's sitting on 3.3k gold right now. This means the Monkey King bar can come up a lot sooner. If he's looking for that type of damage out. But it's the DK finding damage. Like, that's one thing I kind of felt was a little bit in that fight. Like, when it started to end and the Bristleback was losing his stacks, then yeah, it was a little bit better. Lim, this is actually really bad if he gets picked off. The 4 stuff up so the battery assault can keep going to work. They relocate in, so now they can just move themselves over to Yang if they want to, because they bring in this Ven. So the damage output's going to be there to get through the SB, and Lin actually copying a lot of balls to the side of the face. Gets back towards his tier 2 tower as the Shiva's guard flies in too. Phoenix securing the kill on the Wisp with that, but that is going to be 20 to 27 on the board, and actually with the death of SB, they feel like they can finish up Roshan. Yeah, they trade 1 for 1, but now with the Dragon form already used, why not just move into the Roshan? The cogs are brilliant. They've actually burned off half of the mana for the Spirit Breaker. The Fission might come in, and now the BKB will trigger from the Bristleback, and this will be a big contest for Roshan. The 4-star Finn dogfights. He wants to Echo Slam, but they stun him up. They can't finish the job. Roshan killed by the Dire, and the Bristleback picks up the Aegis, the Immortal. He's still going to die almost instantly. They cop so much damage to do this, but the Nova, HGT are locked too close to the sun inside the pit, and now XLL, they actually just TP themselves out to safety only just in the nick of time. And VGP, well, they were able to take Roshan, but HGT still got out of there. Yeah, exactly right. It was a big play from XLL, no doubt about it. Gets huge gold for his team, does get the Aegis that ends up being eaten, and he picks up the cheese. Oh my, he got a little bit of everything there. Still not punishing HGT as much as they could have. No outer towers remaining. If they had the Aegis, I think this next push would be really scary, but just the cheese, they still need to be rather tactful about how they go about trying to siege this next part of the base, as now the Daedalus is out for Sven. Yeah, finally done. I still want to see the damage dealing out him on DK. I want to know what he's going to buy, or if he goes massively defensive, which is, like, if he gets a Satanic, then I'll just be very, very sad. I feel like Assault Kuros could be an option just to try to counteract the one that VGP have already. Good point. And that would be one way to also ensure if you can win a fight, then you can push. Yeah, exactly. But then again, you got Sven. Like, as long as you got him, you should be fine.
Yeah. What else does DK really want here? Doesn't really need too much more armor.
Oh, looks like you're alright. That's going to be AC.
Cross, yeah. It is nice against the Bristle. I guess you can never really have too much armor with all that physical.
Then it's just more of a reliance on the Sven to keep pumping out damage. Which means Wisp has to be tethered to him every time.
I think a Vlad's could go a long way for HGT as well. Again, for the armor aura, but also just get some lifesteal going on.
Yeah, you could pick that up over on the Wisp.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know what he's been picking up in the meantime, but he was walking around like 20 minutes in with most items he would need as a basic Wisp. He doesn't have much of a net worth though.
Yeah, he's got about 900 gold right now, so he could start making some progress towards it. But yeah, still a little ways off.
Oh, VGP, where do you want to go from here? The bottom lane seems to be the most attractive target, considering the tier 3 towers already dropped there, and the creep wave's pushing out. But I'm also seeing familiar birds on that top lane again, being an absolute nuisance. And their only goal is to make sure this creep wave pushes in. They're more of a nuisance now because the Aghanim Scepter got completed. But once that creep wave reaches the top lane, Sven just TP's up there. I don't think they can relocate in because the Dire still have fortification. So they need the fortification to trigger based on the damage the familiars deal. And then they can send the Sven.
Yeah, you can tell VGP just being so cautious here, really respecting the split push and still just the teamfight power of HGT. That Dragon Knight is super farmed, and Sven not that far behind.
Are we getting a Halberd over on the Bristleback too? He's got this Talisman of Evasion. We've got the Ogre Club as well as the Plate Mail, unless I'm missing another item.
No, I think the... Yeah, that's sort of an odd set of items he's got. I mean, the casual Plate Mail is just a pretty good item in general. See some good armor. I think it's probably going to be the Halberd.
Looks to be.
I mean, it's still, like, as we talked about, it's very useful once these BKBs get down to 5 seconds. It's talk about a way to neuter the Sven when he's not magic immune. I mean, can't do anything.
At the same time, though, if the Sven builds into a Monkey King bar, then, well, it doesn't really matter anyway, so yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so it will be. But Sven's got no money, so the Dragon Knight's got no money now. He actually finished the full AC.
Okay.
So
much needed.
Yeah.
And actually, was it an AC that came out on the Dark side, or was it a Shiva's picked up by the Bristle?
It would have to be an AC for the Bristle.
Okay, it's a Shiva's on the Phoenix, and Bristle still hasn't finished the AC yet. Instead, he goes for the Halberd. Okay, I see. So that gives HGT a little bit of an extra bump in this next team fight before the... Well, presumably before the AC on Bristle comes out. He's still pretty far away.
Schmuck time. VGP. Group it up as 5.
I think this is how they have to do it, though. I don't think they can just run up to the base and do that kind of brute force 5-man in. They need to find a pick off somewhere else.
Well, I'm only wondering if they can actually do that, but they do it like through one of the broken lanes already, like mid.
Yeah.
And then you can find your targets. The creep wave is going to be giving you vision. So I'm hoping our slideshow is going to be nice for this. Yeah, so they can see air. Here comes your charge. They want to go for the DK. Going to watch buyback as well as now. Well, okay. That happened. So disengaged from HGT. They just run themselves back out there, and the smoke gank will fail from VGP.
Looks like one BKB used on both sides.
Hello, so China.
fairly even there. Yeah, that's... Okay. So Spirit Breaker used his. I think Air popped his as well. Oh, good.
It's lagging up on your side as well. Start moving out and going for similar ganks.
Yeah, wow. I was wondering what Lesh was going to do with all that money, and he picks up an Ethereal Blade as his next big ticket. Very interesting.
Well, there's one way to stop him from attacking. if at first the Halberd doesn't succeed, E-Blade again.
Yeah. It's just an odd item build-up from Lesh. I think it's appropriate here, but just very different. He did pick up the Bloodstone slightly later, and it is down to 6 charges. Hasn't really been able to snowball with it.
Oh, split push it. That's all HGT's got to do.
Yep.
Like, just leave a couple of familiars on the top lane to keep the push going. Try and force, like, if you can, keep the Sven, familiars, as well as Wisp on that top, and leave everyone back inside the base.
Yeah.
Because they've got to be ready to fight. They've got to be in the right positions to fight when the relocate then comes in. And then there should be a attack from behind and mop up the back line.
Mm-hmm. Visage is actually getting really farmed. He's got a Solar Crest now. Go with his Aghanim Scepter. So see what they can do in this fight. Air ready to initiate. Goes in onto XL. Already got his back turned.
And the E-Blade is actually being used to protect him. And that's the reason he ended up picking up the E-Blade. As, well, there's into Nova. You've already lost his venom inside at this fight, and the Bristleback goes to work. Air just wants to get himself away from this Nova before the stun's going to connect in. But yeah, they're going to lose both the DK as well as Sven. The Sven can at least buy back into this, but okay, XTT's not a happy man either. He's so low on life just sitting inside. He's going to actually hook shot back out then, by looks of it. Okay. And then has to buy back, but they've lost their bottom racks. Ha! There's Nova.
That's... Oh my. Okay, so a lot of buybacks, at least 2 buybacks used for HGT here. They will repel Vici potential, I think. Yep, okay, looks like no more will die, just the kill on the Phoenix. But like you mentioned, they lost their barracks. So again, it's just like mid lane where it was very costly and they still don't make the hold.
Wonderful.
I knew it was.
How much would you like to decode on the exact precision of that last fight?
Yeah, you know, I knew there was a lot of value in studying PowerPoint in university. It's all coming full circle.
But it is just so easy for VGP to like. Thanks. It's just so easy for VGP to do what they did. Like, you jump up, you throw down the Nova, the DK doesn't want to get too close, the Bristleback is making so much space, and then the SB's charging in, and he doesn't care about BKBs, because he's going to bash it's just going to pierce the magic community every single time. And now you got an Earthshaker with probably even a scarier item. He just picked up a Blink Dagger. So you've actually got the jump in Echo Slam now. So when that first initiation arrives, you think you're going to be good. But the fact too, like, HGT's like, yeah, we got Silver Edge. This Bristleback's going to have absolutely nothing. And then Lashrak's like, well, I've got E-Blade. You're not going to attack him during this period of time, so
yeah,
you can attack him with Silver Edge. But yeah, I think you almost have to wait for the E-Blade to be up before you then activate the Silver Edge. But that's not what HGT want to do. They want to burst down this Bristleback straight from the get-go. But
yeah,
like, you initiate with Silver Edge, there's no damage really being done. So the Visage doesn't have Soul Assumption charges, so you can't even make the most of like when the E-Blade's used.
Yeah. This Earthshaker is just so mobile. Now he's got Blink, Force, and Glimmer Cape. So he can initiate, escape, and then, well, maybe help one of his teammates either initiate or escape after that. He's like the ultimate utility here.
We should know that as well. Roshan's going to be up at around 51 minutes.
Okay. Good to know. It could be the focal point of this game. Possibly. I mean, I feel like for HGT with 2 lanes of barracks down, they're in Hail Mary mode at this point, where they need something like a Roche or a big smoke play like this.
Dragon Form is up, and they can see XLL farming it up as James, the first one to be initiated on the Nova. He doesn't get it off this time around, and he will buy back, deeping into the tier 2 tower, so that Nova will be coming in. Kaka solo. In fact, Yang is the main man, focusing in down there. Spirit Breaker just right in the targets as Dogfight's forced out. He didn't actually get the Echo Slam off. Lives on 130 HP, but that Nova's coming down. Can they get rid of the egg? No, they cannot. The stun will arrive. Air and Kaka, they're trying to battle up against the unbattable, or maybe it is. Air will eventually die, but not before Lin will pick up a triple kill. The double buybacks here. Finally, the Echo Slam's going to re-arrive, but the Familiars, they're carving the Earthshaker up. Pretty Hole will pick up a double kill from this. XCT just wants to get the hell out of dodge. There's a regeneration rune a little bit further down. Those Familiars have stun stop by the looks of it. Hook shot down the creep wave. The Urn charge won't be enough to kill him, and Pretty Hole E-bladed down, and then lightning by the Lashrak, and the dominating spree. The Clockwork will be able to survive. The SB lost vision of him.
VGP, they've got creeps moving into the base. Buybacks very limited for HGT. It's just the Visage that has it. And there's the charge on the XTT. They get the vision. Yang. Oh, nice cogs. Close call, but now they'll go for tier 4 towers. And this could end up being kind of a GG play here. Even though it was a decent fight for HGT, buyback used by the Visage.
He's got no familiars though.
Oh,
like, he lost all of his familiars. Oh no,
they're coming. They're flying in.
They're on their way. But VGP, they're really looking to secure this one point if possible. There's your E-Blade. You also have to protect, but it also pulls him out of the fight. XTT, those cogs can't do anything. Yeah. Well, mana pause at the end, but VGP will take game number 2. And we get to level things up at 1 apiece. So,
all right. So as we talked about, it's only 1 point for a tie on both sides, and if you go 2-0, you do get 3 points. So this is again HGT being one of the favorites. This is a pretty big deal.
And that was not a game I was really expecting. We saw the draft and like I kind of want to hear the opinions of like LD and Sind on this one, because what did you guys think after you saw the draft at the start?
I think generally in this version, I always considered Bristol